go ahead and start. So, again, I want to welcome everybody to our Empower Yourself Monday. And our special guest today is Andrea Felder. And she was actually our part of our panelists for AI and PR and communication. Today, we're doing a little bit different as far as sharing out the content. This is going to so this is Tanya Schultz, by the way. This is Tanya Schultz, the president of Women Communication South Florida chapter. And I wanted to kind of like change the program a little bit and test out the SEO aspect of Women Communication South Florida by just having a space. We record it, and then it's always set up in a really beautiful podcast outline, and then we're going to distribute it live, stream it out to all the social network based on the busiest on our page. And from there we'll see, because we're getting ready to do some major changes with our organization and our national, so we want to be a little bit more mindful and figure out where people want and what they wanted to learn. But I do know one thing Emily does. I want to give the mic to Emily, but Emily and I and Terry and a lot of people I've talked to, AI is such a major conversation now. And anytime I turn on anything, everybody's using AI for something. So I'm excited to have Andrea here. And I'm going to give the mic to Emily. And Emily, I send you her picture with her bio on it. So the mic is yours, Emily. Emily is our communication director.
Thank you, Tanya. And good morning, everybody. I will say that, yes, right now the big buzzword has been AI and ChatGPT, and everybody's talking about how to use it in their business. So I am so excited to have Andrea here with us today because the panel last time was amazing. We really did. I learned a lot. And I have been, even though I was using ChatGPT prior, I have used it in so many new ways just from that one conversation. So I can't wait to see what we learned today. And to introduce Andrea to everybody who's listening, she's an entrepreneur involved in multiple online endeavors, including AI Hacks, Caption Copy, Rocket Hub, Ampfluence, and more. She is also a USAF veteran, a wife, and a mother. She believes the future of work and commerce will be forever changed by AI and is heavily invested in developing processes to help others learn how to employ AI in business and in work. And Andrea, we are again just super psyched to have you here because we want to learn all the things about AI.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited to, just like I imagine everyone else who will be listening or who's listening now. I for one, we've been using AI and machine learning for many, many years, right? I think one of the reasons why it's become so important, especially in these past few months, is just because of how technology has democratized it. So we really have an opportunity here to kind of like lay out the future, if you will. And because it's an exploratory space and I'm kind of a curious person, I feel that, it's very much a passion of mine. Apart from it helping in terms of work and entrepreneurship, the innovation aspect is so interesting to me. So, yeah, excited to be here.
Well, I love that. And I mean, you're right, the exploratory aspect of it, because you could literally just spend hours prompting to get information. My first question, though, to you is like, how did you, I mean, I do agree. Without realizing it, everybody has been using AI for a while. I was giving my grandmother examples the other day of like how she's even used it. I'm like, it's not scary, it's just new. But tell us about kind of your experience. How did you get started really jumping into the world of AI?
Well, before ChatGPT, like actually this is what 6 or 7 years ago, I used to host hackathons for my local area. And what I started to notice, especially with the people it's mostly like college attendees or technologists, right? And what I started to realize was the most innovative aspects was machine learning, which is kind of feels like the predecessor to AI is machine learning, right? And I'm very interested in how you catalog things to develop algorithms around things to solve like huge problems. So for me, I'm more of a like macro person versus a micro person. I like to see how we can use technology and like think big to solve like real problems in our community. And one of the first hackathons I hosted, he was a 19-year-old kid. He's 19 years old. And I still remember, his name is Gabe. He works now for Visa, I believe, the last time I checked. But in that 3-day session, he developed an algorithm that can detect like the possible diseases you have based on your based on your history, right? So it's sort of like a preventative technology. And so he developed an algorithm within those 3 days that kind of identifies those ailments at a 98% accuracy rate. And this was like 6 or 7 years ago. And from there, I started getting so excited about technology, because if we have these young children exploring these huge problems, we can really, from a unique perspective, understand that we have now the capability to solve them, or at least help prevent them from becoming detrimental, right? Both to our personal health or to society in general. And that's when I started becoming interested in how technology can help us as a society. And that was just 6 or 7 years ago. And then as we slowly walk, because most people don't realize that this technology has been developing for such a long time. I mean, back then we used to use IBM Watson to help categorize data. It all starts with data, right? And if you want to create a very utilitarian like user base or app, right, for your user base, you're really going to have to implement some sort of like machine learning technology back then, right? So what's more exciting now is that now we have AI. So the concepts of machine learning, all of these things have already been like categorized and cataloged, which is why we're at the point now where we can implement AI technology in such an easy level. So it's a lot easier than it was many years ago. But it's a long history of me exploring technology. And I always tell people I don't really care much for clothes or shoes, but I love software, which is one of the reasons why I'm involved in Rocket Hub, which is primarily a platform that helps identify and launch early stage SaaS platforms to help people market better and actually afford that marketing technology. So whether you're a solopreneur, a business owner, or a large organization, Rocket Hub is one of the like our child. This basically our child right now in this past couple of years, because we can see that AI technology is emerging at such a rapid rate. But at the same time, you're going to need people to test that technology. Does it work? And I think, as Tanya was saying, she spent all weekend like signing up for all these AI platforms. And one of the biggest things that we care about, in terms of like actually releasing software for a utilitarian purpose is, does it work the way people say it does, right? Is it Are you actually going to spend time signing up for 100 pieces of software, and out of those 100 things that you signed up for, only 25 are actually working the way the founder expressed that it should, right? Or the way that the person who is using the software expects that it should. And that's one of the reasons why we're so heavily invested in this space.
So like I signed up for one for contracts,
Right.
like I just think it's really important.
Mhm.
I might not be renting anything or buying anything right now, but I think contracts are really important, especially for entrepreneur, any type of business, because to go out and also you should always double check, because I have like paralegal friends and lawyer friends and stuff, but I don't want to be bugging them, and I want to pay them. But if I can get something drawn up quick and fast on my own and have it checked on,
Yeah.
I think that's the key, because my contract that I'm using now, I've been using it since my company was founded, and now I've gone off. I'm no longer doing social media marketing or anything. I still do web development, but not the way it used to be, because usually I just hire someone else that does it. But to do it now, I'd like to be controlling everything. So the contract changes, and so you have to hire another attorney, or you use AI for that. I think stuff like that, something simple, is good.
Right.
But to have a human explain it to you more thoroughly would always be good, but if you don't have the money for it, I just feel it's the key. And when I literally signed up for every single bookmarking sites when I first started into digital media back in
T-shirt
2006,
clothes.
2007. Yeah, right. I like that's why I have my such a really good SEO behind my name and my brand, because I think that if you want to learn something, the best way to learn it is great to read about it, but experience it.
Do
So
it
Emily, that's why
yourself.
Emily, right? When you get to
Right.
experience it. So Emily, have you come across any clients yourself as looking for AI incorporated into there? Because I'd like to talk a little bit more also about these plugins that are going into the websites that they're developing too.
Yeah, we definitely have some clients that are using it. Certainly with the plugins, just being able to have these conversations and chat with potential clients without a human having to interact and do all the interactions. So we're using it in that sense. And we use it a lot actually. So our clients come to us for a lot of random stuff and like setting up timelines for an event that they're throwing, or I even had somebody ask us about some travel suggestions the other day. And so we've just kind of been plugging that stuff into Chat GPT as well. And it creates absolutely beautiful timelines and event schedules and travel itineraries and things like that as well. So we've been using it in like a bunch of different ways. And then after the panel the other day, we started talking to a client who was looking to build a new app. And we were saying, go into Chat GPT and start playing with the prompts and really start looking at how you can code and build apps and ask it to help you create these things. And they started going in, and it was like seriously like mind blowing. Like everything that we talked about on the panel the other day was so incredibly useful. So yeah, our clients have definitely been hopping into it. And I think the plugins that are available make it so easy.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to mention actually, I think Ollie's here, and Kirsten. They're members of our team, and we build a lot of really interesting stuff. So I just wanted to shout them out because it's always great when you have family come and just listen in. Um, the plugin aspect is so interesting that you say this because actually, apart from ChatGPT, which I really just want to shine light on here, apart from ChatGPT, there's a lot of different like software standalone separate from OpenAI, which I think is very important for people to understand. From like, if you're looking at utility, especially from the content marketing perspective or the marketing and sales perspective in general. Um, like, for example, we have a platform called Eriously.com, which is a text to speech software, right? Basically, it turns your text into audio with like just a click of a button, and it uses like about, I don't know, 500 or so languages. So basically, you can take your text and have someone speak it for you without you actually doing it. And this uses technology from Microsoft Azure and a bunch of different things. But there's a lot of AI tools that you can use that are separate from OpenAI, which I think people um, don't necessarily see as like accessible. However, you just have to know the terminology. So, for example, first you have to know it's capable, then you have to know the technology that you're looking for. So, in terms of like conversation in OpenAI, that's been very important from GPT-3 to GPT-4. People were really excited in GPT-3 about implementing like AI in like conversations, right, on your website. So you can build bots or very smart conversations, which I think was the whole lore behind this. But then at, on the other end, right, there's technology that's used by specialists. So, for example, you're a podcaster or you create YouTube videos or you're using social media. Well, now, or you have a blog. Now, all your articles can be turned into speech, like into audio with just like a click of a button. And you can even edit it smartly with text to speech syntax, right? But then, even a step above that, is you can now take your text and turn them into avatar presentations. So you don't even have to be on video or speak, which is so interesting from a marketing standpoint because now all the impediments that were kind of like right stopping you from doing the things that you didn't necessarily want to do. For example, some people say they don't want to be on video. Well, now you don't actually have to put your face on a video. And some people don't want to be um, speaking. They don't want their voice to be associated with a specific brand or whatnot. Now you don't have to do that, right? So there's a lot of things that you can implement apart from Chat GPT that will actually help your clients or yourself market better and faster.
And I think that's probably like one of the biggest things is that I don't think people realize everything that is out there. I think you hear so much about ChatGPT and you talk about that, but there are so many other available plugins, platforms, software. There are things, and you Google and there is an influx of information. And I know I myself, like I go down the rabbit hole and I just start clicking through into things, and then I'm like, I don't know what is always the right tool to use. Where do you like? What would you say is a somebody, like maybe somebody on Twitter or a blog, a website, something for people to follow to learn more, get their resources?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say that there are several like newsletters that I really really enjoy. For example, like the AI Rundown. I think it's by Rowan. It's a really good newsletter. You can find that. Um, Also, the CEO of Rocket Hub, he also runs a newsletter called Promptly, which like launches or tells you all the tools that are coming out or prompt resources. I myself also run a newsletter which is called AI Hacks, and it's really more about generating revenue using AI, which is a little challenging because I have to develop experiments. This year, I'm doing about 100 experiments. Everyone who subscribes, I like upgrade them for free. I don't care. It's I want kind of like want everyone to know um, what's going on, you know. So subscribe and you'll get like a free forever upgrade. And just Twitter, actually. So if you follow a lot of people, which I love about Twitter, is that everyone is so open about, you know, what they're learning, right? Especially like the build and public ideas, the founders. So all you have to do is really observe, which is so interesting because in the business setting, traditionally, people like to like kind of covet their ideas. But I think most people on Twitter are kind of more free with the information and the things they're doing and realize that we can do more together than alone, you know? So, yeah.
You know, Emily, I don't really use ChatGPT because I have a problem with going on all over the place. So I try to like keep everything organized. I like templates. So Andrea, what are your thoughts about templates? Because like I have Jounce now. I'm not actually paying on them and just checking. And then I have Jasper. I was messing with that, and now I'm signing up for all the other one. Now I'm doing the my next big project is taking all the old blogs I have, rewriting it, and then making the AI create a video for it, and then I got to move my videos to other platform besides YouTube. So I'm trying to like
Oh,
yeah.
man. I love templates for your project. So I think this was like last year. I don't know. Tirza might be able to chime in. But we helped Eli, which is like a competitor of Synthesia, launch AI platform that is like a text to video, like avatar presenter video. They can also, it's called Eli. Yeah, Teresa may tweet it for us from Rocket Hub, but basically they can create your likeness too. So the avatar presenter, while you're like including your blogs, you just take your blog text, you put it in the editor, and if you work with that team, I think they can create your custom avatar for like $500 or something like that, which you don't have to actually use it because they have avatar presenters. But if you wanted to like customize your videos to make it feel more like you, they'll be able to do that as well because they have the capability of doing it. So
Do you know how much money I spend in software?
yeah,
I'll do
I
that
can
just to have
imagine. You
it.
need
It
to.
goes hand in hand with the branding. I think every year when I do my corporate taxes, I feel like I feel like embarrassed because about how much I spend in these different apps, now I traded the distribution of content like Hootsuite or Buffer and all this stuff to
Mhm.
more toward going toward Web3. That's why I'm paying for Twitter. I'm paying because I'm able to upload more stuff. So you find value, but that's like a huge part of my business is
Right.
the software, right? But
I'm
to
saying,
own your own AI, I mean your own avatar that looks just like you, and they're able to do that, I think that would be really super cool. Actually, I
yeah,
think
actually, you should
it's a
check them out.
value.
We'll say,
Yeah, that's very. I need more information on that. I'm going to hit you up on that, Andrea, and just get some details there because
Yeah,
I
I'm
hate
looking it
being
up
on
right now
video.
as we
Like,
speak.
yeah, I hate being on video, and I have some courses that I've been working on and stuff, but I need video for them, and I'm just like, I really don't enjoy. I was I like
You're
being on stage. I
smarter.
love talking on stage. I just hate being on video. I do not photograph well on video. So having an avatar that looks like me but like is a little more photogenic, I would love that. And Andrea, I have to say I am going through your newsletter topics right now. I have to subscribe and actually like go in there and read, but you've got some really, really interesting topics in here.
Yeah, that
And
was the point of this newsletter, was really not to just talk about AI tools, right? It was really to talk about like how you can implement them into your workflow as a sales team or a marketing team, and how to make your life easier. So the experiments take a lot more time. I was like, oh, I'm just going to do 100 experiments. Yeah, whatever. But it is more, it's a lot deeper, than you can use this tool to present. It goes into ideas like how to use ChatGPT to create like high converting cell sequences, right?
mhm.
Um, so it does a lot of it just talks a little deeper, I think, about these experiments, which I think people will enjoy. It's just time consuming to do, but it's fun. So
Right. And so useful. Like, seriously, what you're giving back to the community by doing the experiments. Because, like we definitely have been using AI to write content, but then I'm looking at your article of using Chat GPT and Canva to create 100 posts in 30 minutes. And I'm
yeah,
like, yes, I want to know more. We are
yeah,
definitely not doing that. So,
that's
like
that's
just yeah. So I'm very excited to delve deeper into what you are writing about here. And I love these experiments. What's the best, like what's your favorite of the experiments you've done so far? What did you find the most use out of?
well. I think for people who want to use AI to make money, I think the one that was most fun for me was using AI in advanced Twitter search, because it tells you how to like basically use the parameters in Twitter's advanced search to create databases you can sell based on your niche. Um, Another thing, well, there's three, I guess. In the write the cold email icebreakers, there's actually software, guys and girls, that like you can pay upwards of like hundreds, thousands of dollars to write your AI, your like first liners, their email icebreakers for cold email. And if you do it in mass, like you're building a marketing or sales pipeline, you really want to find a way to like break the ice with people you've never met before. So that exercise teaches you how to build a list and then write first liners for your cold emails so that you can send emails that actually connect with your user, and it increases your open rate and increases your response rate as well. Um, I think those two. The one that was most popular was the Chat GPT and the Canva for 100 posts in 30 minutes. It's actually feasible using that process that I outlined, just because I'm very much a spreadsheet person now. But yeah, that has been the most helpful for like social media managers and things like that, because you can bulk create easily, and you can also customize the caption. So actually, I think those three are the most popular.
So, what are your thoughts about Snapchat's AI? Because I'm literally I signed up to be a partner with them, so I got
Hmm.
approved. So they, because I'm wanting to be able to have full immersive, IRL slash hybrid, metaverse, and then be able to do the AR. But now they have this whole AI
My
thing. Yeah, that they laid off all the AR people, and then I think they spend money on the AI people now. But what are your
well,
thoughts on that?
I mean, Snapchat is really interesting just because so I operate Amfluence, which is like a social media agency, right? It's a sort of like productized growth. Um and Amfluence, for Snapchat, it's really just a challenging platform in general, I guess, for me personally. I think people use it in a more like introverted community based way, but it's the transparency is kind of difficult. I do find it interesting if they're going to open up their like AI on AR type things, help developers use it more, because I think that that's going to be kind of like the impetus. I think is the stepping stone towards making it more accessible to everyone. Um, I don't know yet, because even their PR says don't trust the my AI. It says don't ask it for advice. It says don't like share your concerns or thoughts with it. So it's kind of like, well, you're putting it out there, but it seems kind of iffy. Like they're kind of iffy about it too, right? Which kind of it scares me if you're going to implement something just because of traction, but you're going to tell your users don't trust it yet. Like don't ask for advice. That's kind of funny to me, but that's how I feel. Was always wondering. I think that you should just like basically ensure that when you're putting something out there, that you have safeguards in place, extensive safeguards, especially because the community there are largely like sort of the younger generation, right? So want to make sure that they're using it safely. So that's kind of my concern with that.
Yeah, I started, like, I don't use it for that. I don't have the time to do that. I
Yeah,
just like stories, like, oh, like
yeah,
now, like, oh, I just thought about this. Let me see what my little AI thing on my phone does. And then I'll write out a whole essay, and I'll tell it, like, write it in a witty, fun, informative, persuasive, like, and have like and explain it to me like I'm in ninth grade. Stuff like that, like things like that, and then I turn around. I don't use the whole thing. I rewrite it anyway, but I like the fact that it actually breaks out my everything that I want to write, and it does it, and because I'm using it all the time, and it knows what my habits are, I guess. So I'll go sometime and I'll make like 15 articles. I haven't even published them yet because I ran out of time, and I have to go back and republish them. But
mhm,
what are your thoughts about people walking around with these, because you can buy an app off of, I have one, like I have
right.
a few actually. What are your thoughts on those? I mean, we're literally cranking out new business and AI so fast, but there's no do's and don'ts type of deal. And are
Well,
we concerned about the kids having these tools on their phone?
I mean, just like anything with children, just 'cause I'm a mother, right? Just like anything with children, when something new comes along, or when you know that they're going to be testing or playing around with certain things, you need to always observe them, right? Watch them. That's just like anything. Your child joins sports, your child joins math league. You're gonna watch them, right? You're gonna trust that you've taught them the right things and how to operate in this world that we live in today, and you're gonna help them get through it. I don't feel like we should just say don't use it, I mean, from the like Luddite point of view, or like totalitarianism, like we can't just like basically cut our children off, right? This is the world that we're living in, and we want them to thrive in that world. So without teaching them or giving them access, then we're limiting their ability to create, and I think that's very important. um you know from like, even, I mean, even there's, okay, so many years ago, I had this concept, right, that you could basically give accessibility to technology to children in any, or students in any place, right, any place around the world. And that accessibility alone would give them like the flight path to create whatever they needed to create, right, or whatever they wanted to create. The empowerment is the first thing that we have to like focus on when we're looking at people, or children especially, and their future, right? Because they are going to carve out their future. Now, if we don't empower our children in all areas of the world, right, in every place, we kind of cut them off because we're afraid, we're fearful of technology, then we're not giving them the opportunity to thrive at the same level as everyone else. And I think parents, especially parents, now that you're listening in and your child may be in grade school, or even high school, right? You're worried about them. You're worried about their safety. You're worried about the things that they might see, right? Because they're curious. Um, but to prevent them from touching that technology and interacting with them with that technology, you're also like basically closing their sphere. And I think that we have to give our children the opportunity to explore and to create, and to fail consistently so that they can develop their own like personal um, willpower, their own personal stance on like what they want to build, their own personal philosophies in life. If we don't give them that opportunity to explore and create, then we're limiting them, and everyone else is going to be on a different path, and their path is going to just be cut off because we're afraid, So I feel like all parents should empower their children, connect them with mentors, watch what they're doing and watch them grow, see what they're capable of.
I love that. You're so right about that. I think, the first thing we teach our children is the no word. I've was always been like, I go through this whole speech about the no word, right? No, no, because got to keep you safe.
Um,
Like that no word. That's the first thing we learn, and then we, like I said, when a child is born, they're just happy and blessed, and there's no yes or anything. They're just happy to be here. But then as they get older, I'm speaking as an empty nester. So but I always try to, like, not to say no, right away. But sometimes when you know a little bit more, then you get worried. But then if you're that's why I'm so glad that I have grown kids. But the do you find that if AI can bring family together? Because I think, like, social media has taken them apart. Can AI bring families together?
Okay, it's really interesting question. Just because I've actually, when you're a homemaker, right? Let's go back a little bit. That word "no." There's a book that, if you're interested in your parent, there's a book called The Four Agreements. I think it was by um, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I think it was the author is Miguel Ruiz, could be Don Miguel Ruiz, but The Four Agreements is such a great book to read for empowerment, especially your children, yourself. If you kind of have things that you're dealing with mentally or emotionally in your past, that you may feel like you haven't. You may not even know exists. It's a really good book because it talks about the lies we tell ourselves or the lies we develop in our children as well. So it's a really great book. But in terms of family, yeah, I do think it's such a funny conversation because, um, first of all, we can see the change that technology has built into our current, like, social atmosphere. Okay, now I had a conversation earlier with one of my friends, and he said, "Well, we're going to create like 3 or 4 minute videos because we feel like people don't have time to, or care, or have the attention span to sit and watch like 3 hours worth of content." I said, that supposition, that assumption is actually wrong, you know, because we've actually built a very lonely society. Where everyone is kind of stuck to their phones, posting content, but it's devoid of, like, the interaction, human interaction. So can AI help families um, get closer? I think so. I think if we build technology, for example, there's an app that I use with my children to, like, schedule out, like, planning and scheduling, right? I don't see, like, I don't see, like, it's a missed opportunity if those types of apps do not integrate, like, interesting topics for families to, like, talk about, or like conversational wise, right? You have a family planning app with the schedule and everyone's chores and stuff like that, and that's kind of boring, right? But what if we gamify that app and say, okay, here's an interesting topic that your family might be interested in, and then everyone starts talking about this thing, right? Or now you have ideas of, like, how you can, like, speak at the dinner table, right? So AI, there is a capability because of this customization that you can tell it, these are things that my family might be interested in, and can you give us ideas to talk about, right? To actually converse, because that social aspect is kind of missing from today's society. So we can implement AI to help us communicate better, or just find ways to start a conversation.
I think that's great. And I think so. Our family, we always integrate what we call question of the evening, and nobody can be excused from
Mm.
the dinner table until they answer the question of the evening. And we've been doing that for years and years. So now we have actually, like you just said, we're able to, like, plug in, just be like, give us some example. Here's some questions we've already asked and things that our family is interested in. Can you help generate some other questions? And they give you a big list. And we do family game night a lot. And so we've been able to ask, like, help us develop games based on these that are different and come up with new games to play and stuff. So I think it is very useful. And I do think for families, you can, it's just a family activity to explore AI together and build together and, create different anything together brings the family closer.
I love how you said
I
that,
think
because
so.
actually, even my son, so he's going to the prom son. He's going to be going to college soon, right? And so I think I mentioned this last time we talked, but we sat down over a weekend and we built this thing called his thing called College GPT. It's for his science fair, but we actually sat down together and I made him use it. And he asked me questions like, "What should I ask?" or "How should it be formatted?" Um, of course, I found it very like empowering to see him sit down and try the technology, and then they kind of see this realization. At the first, he's like, "Mom, what do I write? What do I ask it?" And then, like, just 10 minutes later, he's like, "Mom, don't tell me what to write. Just I got it." Right? And I was so like I was very happy, sort of elated by the idea that it's so easy now that even people who have like just fun rudimentary like training in technology, they can just take it and run with it, right? So I mean, if you sit down with your children, just learn the basics of prompting and then see what comes out of them, like see what questions they ask. Then go and ask questions if you don't know the answer, right? Because we don't always have the answers to everything. Or you can do your research, but it's really interesting to see them like take that technology and run with it because it's so easy to use now.
I love everything you're saying. I think it's so key, and it's bringing family together, and I love it. I think it's so important, and especially when you empower your child to write. Because I mean, like, uh, writing is not. Some people are either born with it, but just actually being able to like organize your thoughts and being understanding what it is. But the best part is that you both did it together, and you had an aha moment together.
Mhm.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's he's gonna remember that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we can use a lot of the times we have to just. I think the whole thing. I think when we're going back to just the beginning of like, what do we think about our kids using it or it being accessible to our children, right? I think that accessibility is the key, right? I think that we should not live in a world of fear. There's enough fear around us, today. So if we want our children to thrive, just empower them to use the things around them and give them a greater flight path. I think that's the key.
I agree with you 100% on that. And I'm sure other people do too. We got a lot of people listening in, and we're about 15 minutes until the end of our session today, our space. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put a hand up, and we're happy to give you the mic so you can speak to Andrea and ask some questions as well.
so Andrea, do you
And
teach classes? I'm sorry.
no,
do
actually,
you teach?
I was going to ask her too if she ever does consultations or classes. Yeah.
We do consult, but I don't do actually. My mother was a teacher for 38 years, and I think part of like her pedagogy, I guess you would call it, is that maybe that's kind of ingrained in me. But I'm not a teacher by trade, but I love to teach people. So anytime you want to talk, just send me a message. I'm always open. In fact, Tirza will tell you, like in our team, people have to keep me away from the calls or give me like a timeline because sometimes I just go overboard, which is so funny. But it's yeah. So we do have some courses available, but not for AI right now. But if you ever want to sit down and talk about how to like integrate it into your business specifically, just shoot me a message and we'll set it up.
No, because we have like a lot of blogging moms too that are part of
Mm.
our network, and I think this is the type of subject matter. Don't you agree, Emily? That this would be great for them, and maybe even do a mommy and me type of deal, but for preteens, and then just it's kind of like a teaser, and then you can set up something, and then you can just figure out how much you want to charge, and we can. But I just we like to provide curriculum like this so that it gives the opportunity for the family to be involved too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, actually, so I'm just gonna spend my early days blogging. So that's kind of like when I was going to college online. I spent my early days blogging, learning how to build websites and building them for clients as well. Um, and so I have a lot of experience in content marketing. And yeah, I'm very happy to help. We actually also have a platform. It's called Triber. You might want to check it out. It's like a blog distribution platform. It was considered like one of the like first influencer marketing platforms on the internet, which I think is it's really cool.
Can you
But
can you spell it?
it's called Triber, Triberr.com. So basically it's kind of like the old school way of like building a community around bloggers. So um, it's really fun. It's kind of it's basically a way to build for like-minded people to get together and see the content that they're creating, and those people have the opportunity to share it. So like basically creates like this RSS feed in a group setting, with analytics in terms of like how many of your members have shared it, etc. Right, so you can build like a community around it, around your content. Yeah.
It's very cool. You have, I mean, I do think that anybody looking for a consultation or somebody who's looking to use AI in their business, this is, I think a consultation with you would be quite useful. And you will hear from me as well, because
Oh,
I do think there's, we're delving into it as much as we can for clients, but there's definitely so much we don't know, or things that, just a fresh set of eyes would be very helpful on. And
definitely.
yeah, I think, I mean, what you're working on is pretty incredible.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And what do you say to the people who are afraid of AI, who feel like it's just going to take everybody's jobs and we're not going to be able to work anymore? What do you say about
Oh,
that?
oh,
I know it's a whole
I
nother space, right? But
I guess, I would say if you're afraid because you can see that it's doing what you already do, then do something else or do it better, right? Use it to do something else or do something better. There's a lot of cases where we've encountered like people who actually do things, right? Like maybe writers read an article, you sell it for a few $100s. Now you don't have a job, right? That's what you're thinking in your head. But that's like the glass half empty perspective. And even some people on our team, we can say, if you're a designer, AI is going to take your job. Well, you can think like that and just rest with that like idea in your mind and like just be sad. Or you can take that technology, you can learn it and make yourself like even better, right? Um, so I would go with the glass full, like completely overflowing, and the abundance mindset is much more powerful than like the defeatist mindset, I think.
I agree. I agree. And I think that what you said is exactly right. Like, if you're afraid that it's going to do what you do better. Come up with it,
Yeah.
that's basically, that's what you have to do with competition in general. And this is just another, like, I look at it as a way to leverage up, right? Like,
Yeah.
utilize it as a tool to leverage up what you're doing and do it better.
I agree. I think that's the key. Everything's always changing. You know, I come from a place that's kind of like so I don't know. A lot of people don't realize this, but I come from a place that's like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Um, it's 25 miles long. It's a small island. You know, but if you let your proximity, the things around you, or the things that you're like basically the things you see every day, if you let that stop you from being better or for expanding your reach, you let your personal inhibitions stop you, um, it's kind of a sure way, like a surefire way to say, okay, this is all I can do and this is all I have. But if you step outside your comfort zone and you say, okay, I don't know this, but I'm willing to learn it. Yeah, I'm willing to try. And when I try, half the internet actually, like at this time in AI, I think like 80% of the people on the internet are failing at AI. And you have to, we don't realize it every day, but the people who are failing, that means they're trying, they're experimenting, and eventually one of those things will hit, right? And when it hits, you're like, okay, I'm successful, but actually you're successful because you're doing it. You're not successful because you somehow like quote unquote made it. You're successful because you're willing to try. You're willing to put yourself out there, get on the stage, show people what you can do and share what you're doing. Like that's it. Like everyone is just doing what they can. They're not stopping. They're not letting these failures or these inhibitions stop them. Just do it.
That's always the difference between, it's just people who are doing it and the people who don't, right? And the more that you do it and you put yourself out there, that's success in itself. You're absolutely correct on that. And I know Brent, hi Brent. Brent just requested the mic, and I'm not sure if he has a question, but Brent, if you do, go ahead and grab the mic. Love to say hi.
No, I just want to uh like uh say a comment, and Tanya will agree with this comment, is that if you have an accountability partner or somebody watching your journey, as a person cheering you on, watching your journey, then you will be encouraged to try something new and and branch out. And as Tanya told me, her success, my success is her success, and I truly appreciate having Tanya watching my journalism journey and where I'm going, and I truly appreciate Tanya's friendship. And if it wasn't for Twitter, I would have never found Tanya.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you. I appreciate your friendship too. So I mean, these and you know, and again, the people you meet online, especially in a Twitter Spaces, I sometimes feel like we were meant to meet. Like just like Andrea, like I
and
met her.
now with the metaverse, I felt like I was in person in I was actually in Boca with Tanya in a coffee shop, because the social chats cafe makes me think that I was actually in a real life cafe in front of Tanya.
Thank you, Brent. Yeah, we had a really nice meeting in there. Actually, that's where I'm gonna be showing the replay of this space. There's a reason for my madness, because like I build all these metaverse. I have a cafe and I have a conference room, and then we have all these YouTube videos that we want to start streaming and restreaming, and it's like people are walking in and out all day long. So it's kind of like another way of just having content on the wall and just watching people and getting to know and kind of like understanding and rewatching what you've done in the past. So it's another way.
Yeah. I mean, Tanya, she's so personable. I feel like, just meeting you here, I think this opportunity on Twitter to connect people to people who share like it's so funny because I just learned the last conversation that you actually did hackathons too, which is like I love people who understand. Um, I love connecting with people. So there's no coincidences here, Brent. And I think that like it's such a great opportunity to keep meeting people who support you, because I think it's true. Everyone needs a tribe. Everyone needs people that they can lean on, people who show them support. On my side, I know that like just Tirza and Indra at being here makes me very happy, because it's always nice to see people standing behind you, which I love and I always appreciate. So I agree. Have people to stand by the people who stand behind you. I think that's so important.
That's so true, and it's so important to build that community. If we have about 4 minutes left, does anyone have any questions they want to ask before, or any final words? Andrew, you want to give us any final words? And also how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can send me a message here on Twitter. You can subscribe to AI Hacks. I'm very open, so I'm really just interested in meeting people doing cool things and supporting other people as well. And in terms of AI and your entrepreneurship goals, just get out there and try it. Everything is available to you this day and age. There's nothing that's like hidden. Go out there and try it. Put yourself out there and make it happen. There's a lot of people you'll meet on the way who are willing to support people doing cool things, new things, or just things in general. So there's always help along the way. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Emily, any final thoughts? What are you doing this week? What's your projects this week?
My projects this week. Gosh, we're doing a lot this week, actually. We have a few website rebuilds that we're working on this week. We're helping a company that we work with rebrand. So we've got some rebranding meetings this week, and it's the end of the month. So lots and lots of bulk content creation. That's what our week looks like. And I'll see you on Wednesday night. So I'm excited about that too. And how about you, Tanya?
We have a physical. I'm meeting
Physical in-person dinner together. I can't wait.
Yes, that's so important. No, I have to. I'm meeting with a big. They only have two, but they're about super longevity. This is their second round, so they like the microverse, the metaverse. Telemedicine is a big thing now, and metaverse telemedicine. I think it's going to be big for my arena. Because we're mostly functional, integrative, and especially biologic medicine. But a lot biologics are like unless you have the FDA approval for clinical study, you can't use it anymore like they used to for sports medicine. So I think it's really important for people to learn a lot more things that they can learn more about to help themselves live longer. So that's what I'm doing this week, is working on that project and migrating a whole bunch of other websites to myself. So it's going to be busy and learn and listen and open your mind to it. And then I have my cafe. If anybody wants to use it, it's in Spatio. Just go in there, have a meeting if you want. It's called Social Chats Cafe. I'm not giving out the link because it's not really the grand opening, but I'm just telling people you can go into Spatio and you can look for it and you can go in there because you'll see my logo. You're welcome to go in there and talk to your friends, and then you might go in there at a time when I'm showing some videos because I'm planning to stream a lot of the videos that we've done. We have like 973 videos on YouTube at the moment. I just found out. So we have a lot to stream.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, everyone. And get more information about our national. We've been around since 1909. We celebrate 114 years of women empowerment. You go to WOMCOM, WOMCOM.org, or you can find more info about us. We're AWC South Florida spelled out.org, and we are hosting an event next month. It's going to be metaverse marketing, which is something, and that's just a teaser because there's so many new things that are happening that I'm excited about being able to bring on board and sharing with everyone else. And again, thank you so much for being here. We'll be back next Monday for another episode of Empower Yourself Monday. And have a great week and stay motivated. Bye, everybody.
You too. Bye, everybody.